Game addiction is complicated.
This Marquee Dragon video is sponsored by Shattered Crystal, game codes, and items.
Hello, I'm Marcus Eichenberry from MarqueeDragon.com. I'm at the Login Conference today, and I got Nels Clark with me.
Yes, you do.
Now, Nels, you mentioned something to me about addiction.
Indeed.
And so you wrote a book.
I did write a book.
And you brought a copy with you.
Game Addiction.
Yes. So just tell me, in 30 seconds or a minute, what game addiction is. Because I thought that was wanted by the game publishers. Because if you're addicted to a game or you have addictive behavior to a game, you want to play more.
So that was my provocative provocation to try and get people to come to my session. Was
which, by the way, session will be available on our YouTube channel at some point.
Great.
A little bit before this video or a little bit after, I'm not sure when. But
so yeah, you'll see me stunningly reading through pages of my notes because I had about 3 days to prepare. But game addiction is complicated. That is the best way to sum it up.
Okay.
In the talk, what I really focused on was breaking away from older models like internet addiction disorder. Some of the different, I even call them, they're based off of jokes. They were posted originally as jokes, but they've been retold because they're easy in statistical research to use. What we need to do is foster collaboration between medical professionals and media professionals so that we can start to understand why culturally, why technologically, why some of the physical aspects to just immersion, different aspects to the technology can prompt some functional problems or even possibly dependence.
Okay, so
that's complicated.
Basically what you're saying is if I play a game too much, it's a problem.
Well, that's really up to you, I think. There are people who play a lot who may not have functional problems. So that's where, in the talk, I went back to looking at just how we define addiction for drugs, which is you have...
it's basically like a physical craving.
That's part of it.
Yeah.
That's the physiological dependence. You can also have psychological dependence, where it's some sort of coping mechanism usually, but most often what we see are functional problems where someone is playing to the point where they're sacrificing something in their job, in their relationship. They're letting their
I can tell you that I have fired people from my company for showing up late or leaving early because they had raid times.
Yeah. And there are plenty of colorful anecdotes all over the internet about this, but I think in order to really help people, what we need to do is take a real concerted look, as many other governments have done, like South Korea has actually created K-scale, is what they call it, which is a measure for problematic use, which was the product of funding and a real earnest interest, because in Korea this is recognized as a major problem. Here in this country, it's seen by many, many therapists, it's seen by many parents and spouses, but it's flitting under the surface. And if you talk to therapists, you'll see that this is becoming a major, major issue societally that's just not being dealt with.
So, I guess I'm a little bit of a different school of thought myself.
Where it's a good thing.
Well, no, yes, okay, so you can do something to excess at the expense of something else that is part of your responsibility or, your
functional problems.
Stuff that you have to do in life. And that can happen with anything. So you're not just talking about games. It could be, I spend too much time on Facebook, regardless of any games.
And if you look at that, a lot of the same technologies are coming into play when you're having problems with something like Facebook. And that's where really, in this book, and my thinking has gone a little ways since this, to more the ethical responsibilities of developers and what that really means, what it means to, like I was saying earlier, have intellectual courage to create, to push boundaries, and to create an addictive game if that is your experience, but to understand what that means. And nobody understands what that means yet. So in this book, what me and my co-author Siobhan Scott, who I'll plug her YouTube videos as well, she has some that some viewers may find actually quite interesting, her being a therapist. But together, Siobhan and I probe some of these different technologies. Like I said earlier, and in the talk, and I gloss over this, but I gloss over this in the talk, not in the book. That's anyway. Culturally, offline, you can have aspects that really do prompt really bad play. Online, you have entire fan cultures. You have entire communities. You have entire worlds inside of games. What's being built really is, in some ways, a world. If you look,
it's real relationships.
It's real relationships.
Whether you can reach out and touch that person in front of you or it's a computer screen, it's still real feelings.
So this is one of the new technologies, is the social, the cultural, the connectivity engendered by the internet has helped things like Facebook, but it also comes into play in games like World of Warcraft, which not only do that, not only create a fulsome experience, but at the same time, in things like Second Life, they let you change it around quite a bit more than Warcraft. But in Warcraft, you also have a designed-in reward system, which can be very compelling for some people. So you've got the social, you've got these people who you're hanging out with. You've got this, especially for new players, really exciting reward system. And it looks and feels in many ways like reality.
Correct. So if I'm developing a game, and why should I care about what you're saying here about addiction? I want that as a game developer. Or I shouldn't say I want people to destroy themselves or whatnot, but I want people to...
So is there a line between fun and addiction? Is there a line between satisfying people and creating purely appetitive motivation, creating this need to keep on playing? What is that line? And so that's getting a little complex. I try in the book to get a bit more down to earth with that conversation, and that's definitely where I'm going as well, with talking about, taking this conversation into the realm of ethics. We all choose what it is that we want to do. As developers, we make the choice to develop the product we want, but I don't think we consciously make situations where people hurt themselves. I don't think as developers we say, these gamers, who gives a shit about these guys? Let's just boom, addict them all. Who cares? Maybe there are some people like that. I don't know that I've necessarily met them. I think... Have
you encountered any games that are that way?
That are just completely addictive? Well, if you...
gambling can be addictive.
And
it's like a game, except it
that's
drains
using
your pocketbook.
There's that. I like to look at it, like I said, in terms of who's pulling the most technology together well. And if you go, and this may be interesting, we haven't done the panel yet, this comes up next, but with Darian, Raposa, myself, and we might even bring up some other folks who are speaking elsewhere and log in. So that should be really interesting, but talking about whether there is, what is that line between fun and addiction, and how does that feel?
Okay, so I'm trying really hard to wrap my head around this. It's almost like talking to a politician.
Oh, what am I doing? No. Let me know. I'm bad.
So let me ask another question here. Is there any games that are doing it right?
Yeah, and that's what I was getting to. Warcraft does it right in not only having that experience, which you can explain physically, like what's pulling you into that. So they create an experience that's usable. They have a community that works for some people. They have reward systems that work for some people. I think they probably pull it off, and that's evidenced in the numbers. Though what you're seeing that's quite interesting is a burnout. You're seeing, especially among very heavy players, some level of burnout. And I think one of the reasons developers really can or really should take heed is that there's only so much you can do to polish this stuff when you're just using, mostly reward schedules to keep people continually engaged over the long term. Eventually you have to look to how we engage people in prose, in painting, in even poetry, to bring a bit more art into the experience, what you would find in storytelling, even in comics or on television. Not only to break the experience out of this mold that can only be copied so many times, to advance the form.
I'm totally lost, but that's okay.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Maybe I should have prepared something.
Can I see your book here?
Yeah.
So I think that I'm not an academic at all and everything, but I think that if this
You're
is
better
something
off.
that interests you, the viewer, you should check it out. It's Game Addiction, Nels Clark and Siobhan Scott. And is
We're
it
wrapping
available
up.
on Amazon or
It's on
anything?
Amazon. It's on either, I think, Barnes & Noble.
Okay. Well, I will link to it if I can.
Thank you
And
very much.
Thank you very much, Nels.
Sorry for
Oh no, I love a good
getting
challenge.
us completely lost.
Yeah. No, it's all good. Thanks.
Everyone defines their lives and every